But speaking of Raw was an
Hmm.
excellent episode this past Monday. A lot of great things happening, a lot of build up to Money in the Bank. We saw Braun Breaker do another incredible spear to Ludwig Kaiser, sawing him in half. Oh, and then at the end of the show, a bunch of people just got murdered.
Yeah, and that's not putting it mildly. That was all right. So we kind of talked about this a little bit in the Twitter DMs and before we came on here. You could not have done that any better.
Right.
Like genuinely any better. And it was I did feel bad cuz I was playing Skyrim, I think. I was playing something. It was probably Skyrim and I had looked at the clock and I had seen that it was almost towards the end of the show and I'm like, "Oh fuck, I hope I didn't miss it." And I like had to hurry up and like switch the TV over to cable and I just had missed when Nikki Cross showed up, so I saw everything after that. But now that I've seen the whole thing, I'm just like, this is just some horror movie level type shit
Mm.
that just sends the chills down your spine, that just gives you the creeps. But it's insane. It's absolutely just it was insane. I loved every second of it. They definitely got us though, and I feel like I don't know if they did this on purpose, but or it was just a coincidence. A lot of those people that every it was like, oh well, it was Carmelo Hayes, it was Gunther, it was Triple H, it was all of that. Apparently, they were all just extras. The only
Yeah.
legit person they actually murdered was Chad Gable. But it was so crazy to think that you like that guy right at the beginning when it was Rowan with the hammer. That guy looked like Gunther. Granted, it was black and blue lighting. It was dark. It was whatever. It was foggy, but it looked a little too much like Gunther. And it was so funny to hear people saying like, "Well, that couldn't have been him because there's no way he would have been taken out like that." Did you see the hammer that Rowan was holding? Like that could take anybody out.
Yeah, it
So
was the old Bludgeon Brothers mallet with
exactly.
the word help on it, and he was wearing the old mask that he used to wear with Luke Harper
Yeah.
too. So like it was like
Crazy.
like I couldn't decipher. And here's the weird thing is like I'm live streaming my reaction to this on Twitch, and most people would be like, they would be talkative, they would be describing what's going on, saying, "Oh my god, this is awesome, this is incredible, this is fantastic." Me, I was
Yeah.
just sitting there like a complete doofus with my mouth open, going,
Yeah.
"This is insane." They're
It's
like,
crazy.
there's blood and dead people
Literally.
everywhere. Like, and then the show's over. It still took me time to like decompress.
Yeah.
Um but like when it wore off, it was like, man, if this was anybody else and not like Triple H's and his creative teams, their juices behind this would
Yeah.
have went so bad. Like if this was something that was in the hands of Vince McMahon,
Mm.
this would have been horrible because they did everything completely opposite of what you would expect. You had Nikki
Yeah.
Cross come out. She did like I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Ring, but she
Yeah.
when she, yeah, when she comes out of the TV and she does that army crawl, Nikki Cross did that. Then she points and it's one continuous shot
Yeah.
from Nikki Cross pointing to the back, and then it's almost like you're going through this maze of horrors,
Hmm.
where
Yeah.
like every turn there's a different dead body and a member of the Wyatt Six, and it's just like it's like, what did we just see? Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things like we always say, it's making sure that at the end of the episode, it's gonna make you want to tune in to what's gonna happen next week. Like you're almost like jonesing for it, like you're fiending for it,
Hmm.
because you want to know what's gonna happen. But you have to wait till Monday, and then that's a whole nother story. Like, how does this Wyatt group fit in a wrestling sense?
I don't know. Well, and on top of that too, if you want more intrigue, they crashed the Pat McAfee show apparently.
Yeah.
Like they're going even off of WWE programming, which is wild. But I feel like, and I had sent you this video, and I wish I remember who had it on Twitter. When we all thought these were all like wrestlers that were murdered on live TV, the one she made up a good point, and she said every single one of those supposed people, which I mean, the point still stands with Chad Gable. Every single one of the people that everyone thought was dead had betrayed someone that they thought was like that had they had said family, that was family to them or whatever.
Right.
Gunther betrayed Vici, Carmelo betrayed Trick. I think that somebody thought Dominic was there, so it's like Dominic, that's pretty self explanatory. And then Gable turned his whole back on the Alpha Academy, so maybe if that theory holds water, it'd be very interesting to see if they have their own like brand of justice that may or may not be morally, more morally ambiguous than most people would, do in that situation. But it's almost like the Shield, except like creepier and more scary and just like I guess random in a way because you go from trashing the entire backstage of Raw to shutting off Pat McAfee's show in the middle of the show. So it's just like they are just firing on all cylinders with creative. Kevin Dunn's probably rolling in his non-existent grave right now because of that shot.
Hmm.
Um, but no, it is so cool. I cannot wait to see how this goes. I'm interested to see if yes, they're a group, but they start to like branch off kind of into their own things. Like somebody said, why was Nikki Cross the only one wearing all white? Everyone was wearing like dark clothing, black clothing, whatever. They said, well, what if she's the light to Alexa Bliss's dark?
Ooh.
And I'm like, ooh, you got me on that one. Like, where does Alexa Bliss fit into this? Because clearly she has some history there. So it's like, ooh, this is just a bunch of like, you got more questions than answers, and I love it. Um, but yeah, I cannot wait to see where this goes because this is just insane. This is just crazy. Like it's creeping me out, but I want to watch more.
Right.
Like just that whole 5 minute clip, just like you feel the hair on the back of your neck just like stand up because it's just like, God, this is straight out of a horror film. And like you had said, this 5 years ago would have been a complete train wreck. It would have just been like a mess. It would have been campy. It would have made you roll your eyes. This was just like, oof. Like they even went so far as to supposedly splatter someone's brains all over a wall. Like that poor guy in the gorilla position with the blood all behind him. I'm like, oh, they really murdered somebody on live television. Like this is just it's insane. Like there's nothing more you could say than other. It's just insane.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Alexa Bliss, my theory is, or what I would like to see if I was to do like a whole fantasy booking thing, would be have her just show up, right? Out of
Hmm.
nowhere, complete surprise, because the Wyatt Six has been causing terror and no one seems to know how to get a handle on her. Then all of a sudden, Alexa Bliss shows up, and it's just Alexa Bliss, almost like a dressed down version. Nothing gimmicky or anything like that, and
Yeah.
she's just there, almost like a pure panic, almost like in Halloween, how like Lori is like. Anytime Michael Myers is brought up, she goes in a state of panic, but she knows
Hmm.
what she has to do to take care of him. It's
Yeah.
almost like that, like like Alexa Bliss is like Michael Myers is Lori, where she knows what to do um to neutralize the Wyatt Six, but like no one's really paying attention to her. No one's
Yeah.
understanding how dire this is. And I feel like Alexa Bliss can really come out as like the hero of it instead of just putting her in the group, you know?
Yeah, I think it'd be too easy just to put her in with the Wyatt Six. I feel like it would just be way more interesting to see her defeat the evil she helped create in a way. So, like a redemption arc in a way. So,
Ah.
because that's kind of what they were saying. Like, I get the whole like, oh, well, maybe Nikki's the light to Alexa's dark or whatever, but maybe they flip it. Maybe it's a red herring where it's like, okay, Nikki on the outside may be the light technically, but who knows anybody better than Alexa Bliss? She knows them better than anybody. So I'm very interested to see how she factors into this. Are they going to wait until SummerSlam because it's in Ohio? Are they going to just randomly have her show up on a Raw or SmackDown? who knows? But I want to see it happen, and I cannot wait to see it happen because this is definitely one of those, as cliched as it is definitely must see TV right now.